and welcome to Noble Character Crafts. My name is Amy and I'm coming to you from eastern Nebraska, where I live with my husband and our 5 children. Today is Thursday, July 24th, 2025. A huge welcome to any new or returning viewers. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you really enjoyed this episode. This is a channel all about my crafty life, and today I have knitting and crocheting to share with you all. I will have links to the places that you can find me in the description box below, as well as the show notes for this episode. I am hosting a year-long make-along on Instagram called the Make 9 2025 Mal, and that is for you to join in the Make 9 challenge, where you can choose 9 projects that you would like to make this year, post them in a grid to Instagram, and include the hashtag Make 9 2025 Mal, and then anytime that you post a picture of one of your works in progress from your board or one of your finished objects, you can also include that hashtag in order to be entered to win a prize, which I draw periodically throughout the year. I have been generously gifted so many prizes over the years, and I give those away to those of you who are participating in the make-along. So I have a few more prizes to give away today. The first prize I attempted to give away a couple of episodes ago, but it was not claimed, so I'm going to try again. It is this beautiful pack of Skepjes yarn, and it is the Soft Fun Minis color pack in the rich colorway. There are 12 20-gram minis. They are 60% cotton and 40% acrylic. And the winner of this pack is at real_chata. Congratulations to you. For you and all of the winners today, if you would please let me know your mailing information. Contact me through direct message on Instagram. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me. Let me know your mailing information, and I'll be happy to get these prizes off in the mail to the winners as soon as possible. The second prize is 2 hanks of yarn from Earth Yarns. They are unique DK weight 100% mercerized cotton. There's 275 yards per 100 grams, and each of the hanks is 100 grams. And is there a colorway? Just a number, 1080. There are these really cool earthy tones as well, which is appropriate for the name of the yarn, is Earth Yarns. And the winner of these is at kelly.crafts11. Congratulations to you. The last prize is 3 balls of yarn from Hobby, and they are the Saphira line, which is 55% cotton, 27% wool, 18% acrylic. They are 50 grams each, and there are 150 meters or 164 yards per ball of yarn. I don't know if there's a color on these. Let's see. I don't see a color name. It does say it's a Christmas edition, though this is not a particularly Christmassy color. It's beautiful for any time of the year. The winner of these 3 balls of yarn is at Eileen Knits 64 on Instagram. Congratulations to you. And again, let me just know your mailing information, and I'll be happy to get these gifts off in the mail to you all as soon as possible. Thank you so much to everybody who's continued to participate in the Make 9 2025 Mal this year. And don't forget that you can enter anytime. It's never too late to join in, because it's just a participatory make-along, so you're not required to finish any of the projects from your board. It's just for the fun of joining in the make-along. So don't hesitate to join in at any time throughout the year. I have a few finished objects to share with you. I'm so excited that I was able to finish this adorable gnome. This is a pattern by Schira. It is called Someone to Write Gnome About. And it is a pretty large gnome. It measures 9 inches sitting. So that does not include these long dangly legs, but from the bottom of his body here, or her, I don't know if it's a boy or a girl. I think it said her in the description. Not that it matters, but anyway, from the bottom of the gnome to the top here, it measures 9 inches. And I didn't realize that it was going to be such a big gnome when I started making it. I didn't really look at the details very well. I just thought it was so adorable and I wanted to make it. There is, now I've come to find out, a miniature version of this gnome, but it doesn't quite look as cute in my opinion, the smaller one. The dimensions of this one I just think is so cute. So last time I recorded this, an episode, I was just, oh no, I can't remember. I think I had finished the hat and I was working on the body, if I recall. I started this project on June 20th and I finished it on July 19th. So it took me a month to make it, but of course I'm always making lots of projects at once, so it's not like it had all of my attention. But you start with the hat, and it is a very long hat. It's all knit using fingering weight yarn. The yarn that I used for the hat is Paintbox Yarns Socks in Stripes Candy. That's a 75% superwash wool and 25% polyamide blend. And then for the main body, the purple color is Knit Picks Stroll Fingering in the Paisley Heather colorway. The Knit Picks yarn is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. And then I also used some bare yarn from Purl Soho on their Posy base. And I don't remember the makeup of that, but that's also fingering weight. The needles that I used to make this are US 1 2.25 millimeter for the hat and the body. Actually, everything except the beard and the nose were, the pattern called for you to use a US 1.5 2.5 millimeter set of needles. So that's what I did. Let's see. So I followed the pattern for the hat and the body. Then the directions call for you to go on to make the legs. For the legs, I decided after looking at some of the finished object photos from Ravelry that some of the legs look a little short, I think, in proportion to the body. And I wanted my legs to be really long. So I actually knit them. It calls for a certain number of rounds for the legs before you start the socks. And I doubled that number for my legs. So my legs, the portion from the top of the leg to the top of the sock is doubled in length. And then I did follow the pattern for the socks. So I again used the same Paintbox yarns for the socks and then did contrasting heels or cuffs, heels, and toes per the pattern. And I think they're so cute. I love how they're mismatched. For the beard, that was pretty simple. You just make basically, well, you just make the beard and then you go along the edge and pick up stitches, and I think you just knit one round and then bind them off just to get a neat edging along the beard. And the nose was really cool to make. I liked the construction of the nose. It came together differently than what I thought it was going to. When I was making the nose, I thought it was going to be a different way, but then you attach it and I don't know, it was just kind of cool how it was formed. But again, the directions for this pattern are so well written. It's so easy to understand and follow along. She's very clear on instructions and how to make this just right. There are weighted beads, about a cup of weighted beads in the bottom of this gnome so that it sits really well. And then the rest is just stuffed. I had a little bit of polyfill, and then a lot of this is stuffed with yarn ends. So that was nice to put a lot of my scraps of yarn that I've saved in here as stuffing. This is going to be gifted to my mom's best friend, and I'm very excited that I was able to finish it. Her favorite color is purple as well. Mine is too, so it was fun to be able to make this purple gnome for her. Let's see, I feel like there was something else. Oh yeah, on the instructions for the heel, it tells you to reorient the beginning of round for the heel turn. I did not do that. And I did my gusset decreases like I would usually do on socks. I think the directions were a little bit different than that. Oh, and she actually also calls for you to do the heel flap on like the side of your work. I think so that the beginning of round is on the back of the sock, but I didn't do that. I just, because I knit my legs 2 at a time. So if I had tried to reorient the heel flap, it would have been a little tricky to readjust all of my stitches. So I just worked the heel flap on the back of my sock rather than on this side. Okay, I think that covers everything. I hope so. I did knit, maybe I did knit the foot a little bit longer as well. I think so. Maybe I knit the foot actually a little bit longer. I've written down here that I've knit it for 15 rounds. So anyway, I can't quite remember what the instructions called for, but I'm so happy with how this turned out. I think it's so adorable and I'm really pleased with it. I think it's so cute. It took a long time. It was a lot more work than I thought it was going to be, but I think it's turned out so well. Our county fair starts tomorrow, and so I'm going to enter this as one of my projects for the county fair. So I'm excited for that as well, because I don't need to gift this to my mom's friend until I think she's going to gift it to her for Christmas. So I have plenty of time to enter in the fair before I send it off to my mom to give to her friend. And I've started the second one that I'm making, so I'll show that to you in my works in progress. Actually, I'm going to set him right here, so maybe you can, or her. I still don't, is it a boy or girl? I don't know. Oh, look how cute she is. Oh, it's so fun. Okay, my next finished object is another little toy sweater that I have knit for my mom. She collects dolls, and this is a little sweater for one of her rag dolls. This is a free pattern called Sweaters for Toys, and this is the third one that I have made. It is a pattern by J.G. Miller. I started this one on the 8th of July and finished it on the 15th. I've made size D. There's several sizes available in this pattern. I used US 3.25 millimeter needles, and I used Kramer Tatamy DK weight yarn in the Playtime colorway. It's 45% cotton, 55% acrylic, and my mom asked me to make, well, she wanted more of a vest rather than a long sleeve sweater for this one, but I had already done the raglan increases and was almost finished with them when she asked me to make this into a vest. So instead I just did not knit sleeves. Basically, I just picked up after I split for the body, you know, when I split the sleeves off of the body, then when I went back to the sleeves, I just knit a few rounds of garter stitch on the end of this, the cuffs here on the sleeves, and made it more of a short sleeved sweater. So my mom was fine with that. So that's cute. Otherwise, I followed the pattern. I'm pretty sure I didn't make any other changes besides, well, the original pattern actually comes with short sleeves, but I made these even shorter than the original pattern because I didn't knit any length on the sleeves, just the garter stitch bumps, or a few rows of garter stitch before I bound off. So anyway, that was a super easy and fun project. And I have 3 more that my mom has requested. I have not yet started the next one, but I will do that probably pretty soon. My last finished object is this little baby sweater that I made. This is another free pattern called Wee Bean by, I still didn't look up how to pronounce the designer's name. Taiga, Hilliard. Sorry about that. But anyway, it is a free pattern and it is knit using worsted weight yarn. I love this cotton in Parchment. My gauge was looser. I meant to look up what the original gauge was. I think it was at least 20, maybe 22 stitches to 4 inches, and my gauge was much looser at 18 stitches to 4 inches. I intended to make the 0 to 6 month size, but it turned out to be more of a 12-month size, I believe. So I knit my sleeves to be longer. I didn't make very good notes on this. That's kind of funny. I don't remember now. Oh, 8 inches. I knit my sleeves to 8 inches, I believe, because I was looking up what the recommended length for a 12-month size should be. So I think I knit my sleeves to 12, or I'm sorry, 8 inches before I did the cuffs. Or maybe they're 8 inches total. Sorry, I usually make good notes, but I really didn't. I did pick up 6 underarm stitches, which was not in the pattern, and I also, I'm sorry, when I divided for sleeves, I cast on 3 underarm stitches, and then when I picked up for my sleeves, I picked up 6 underarm stitches. So those were a couple of changes that I made. And then I did do 1 decrease round on the sleeves, and then the rest of the sleeve I just knit straight. So this garment is knit from the top down. I went down in my needle size, but still got a loose gauge. So I used US 5 3.75 millimeter needles for the entirety of the sweater, but I did not, it's recommended that you do the ribbing or the edging in a smaller needle, and I didn't change my needle size. I just used the US 5 for the entirety of the garment. I started this on June 29th and finished it on July 11th. I don't know who I'm giving this to, but I do know several ladies that are expecting later on this year, so it will probably go to one of them. I was hoping it would be a little bit smaller so that it would fit the baby when it was first born, but of course babies are always growing, so it doesn't really matter. It will eventually, whoever this goes to will hopefully get some use out of it eventually. Let's see, is there anything else? I don't think so. It was a pretty simple design. There's just 4 buttons at the top here, and I had those in my stash, so I thought those worked pretty well. And there's just a little bit of garter bump detailing or garter stitch detailing up at the top here. It's a pretty simple design. I don't think that my stitching is beautiful because the cotton yarn really shows off the unevenness in my gauge, but at least I'm consistent and the unevenness is throughout. So it's okay. I actually did wash this in the washing machine. Since it's 100% cotton, I just threw it in the washing machine and then laid it flat to dry, and it held up really well. So that was a simple, easy project. Okay, I have 5 works in progress to share it with you. I'll share the gnome that I am making since I've already shared that. So this second gnome is being held in this bag that was gifted to me several years ago. And I am making the second gnome. My mom requested that I make this one in gray, red, and white, basically. I didn't have any self-striping yarn for the hat in those colors, so I just grabbed 8 mini skeins or scraps of yarn that I had and am doing my own striping for this hat. So here are the 8 colors that I'm using, and I think it's turning out pretty cool. I've already done a full repeat, so you can see from the red to the red, that's a full repeat of the different colors I'm using. This one, it looks black, but it's actually like a dark charcoal color. It does look quite black, but hopefully it'll be okay. Anyway, I think it's turning out pretty cute so far. And then the main body of the gnome will be in a gray color. I don't think I have that skein here, but it will be kind of a medium gray color, just a little bit darker, I think, than this gray stripe. And so I'm excited to get to that and continue working on this. I have a very cute progress keeper on here, a little fish progress keeper that was gifted to me by Yeji of And Made Co. for the Flower Power Make Along that I will share my project for that in a little bit. She sent this progress keeper to me along with 3 other ones that I love so much. Here's a little blue flower and a purple tulip. That's so cute, and I love this little red one too with the extra little daisy on top. They're so sweet. I love them so much. Aren't they adorable? So she's gifting these to everybody who's participating in the make along, and I think that's so generous and sweet of her. Thank you again, Yeji, for sending me these adorable markers. I just love them so much. I'm so happy to have them. So anyway, I'm happy to work on this as well. Again, these are all fingering weight yarns. I'm not going to go through all of them because there's too many to go through, but you know, they're just scraps of yarn in these fun colors. So I'm excited to have that on the go. And you know, it's easier going through this pattern the second time, obviously, because I know what to expect now, so it's going really well. I've started that not too long ago, I don't think, on the 20th of July. Okay, my Flower Power Make-Along project is coming along really well as well. The Flower Power Make-Along is just a fun make-along that Yeji of Ann Made Co. and Christy of Mamie Grace Designs they are both hosting it together throughout the month of July, and it's for you to just make anything that has a flower theme. And I was super excited to make something for this make-along. I have this book called A Year of Afghans, 1998. It's a leisure arts publication. And I found this pattern called Floral Sampler in here that I thought was so pretty. And I wanted to give it a try. I thought it would be perfect for this make-along. I had some yarn in my stash that I thought would be perfect to use up for this project. And I am making this for a little girl that I go to church with that is going to become a big sister later on this year. So I thought it would be fun for her to get a special gift when the new baby is born, so that she's, you know, not completely left out as the new baby gets a lot of attention. So I started this on July 2nd. I'm using DK weight yarn. It's all 100% acrylic. I have 8 different colorways, and I'm using a few different brands of yarn. So again, I'm not going to go over all of the different colorways that are in this. I think I might have listed them in the description box. I'll try to do that if I haven't yet, but it's just a bunch of DK weight 100% acrylic yarn that I had in my stash, and I wanted to try to use it up for this project. So the original pattern calls for you to make 3 different types of motifs for the Afghan, and then they show you how to place out those 3 different motifs in the blanket. So there's motif A, B, and C. I am making motifs A and B, but for C, I am making a different motif because on my last episode I shared that it just wasn't turning out to my liking, that motif C. I currently have made 14 motifs total of each of them. So I've made 14 times 3 motifs. So the first motif, motif A, I have made 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more. Is that right? 6. Yes, I've made 10 more of motif A. So I'll go over those really quickly. I am using a 4mm hook for this project, and I'm just totally randomly placing the colors. I am keeping track of where I'm putting each color so I won't have a repeat of an exact replica of one motif. So I'm trying to space out the colors evenly, use up the colors as evenly as possible. But I do have some colors I have more of than others. So I'm about to run out of this purple color, which makes me sad because it's my favorite, but I only have a small ball of that left. And I'm not exactly sure how many of these I'm going to make total. The original pattern calls for you to make 21 motifs of, I think, B and C, and then I think 24 of A. I'm not exactly sure if I'll make it that big or if I might cut it a little shorter than what they call for. I just want to double check that. I'm sorry, they call for you to make 25 of motif A and then 21 of the other 2. But again, I might not make it quite as long as what they recommend, so I might adjust that. I'm going to see how it looks once I've got it to a certain point and see if I want to make it a little bit shorter than what they recommend or make it to pattern. For motif B, I have made 11 since I recorded last. They're just so fun to make. I really enjoy seeing the different color combinations and working through all of these different patterns. The A and B motifs are very, very fun to make and pretty easy. It's easy to get the hang of it and memorize it pretty quickly. So I'm enjoying that a lot. They're so fun. This is my favorite project right now. I mentioned that last time and it continues to be. It's like a treat to work on this project. So I'm enjoying it so much. But that's typical for me because crocheting blankets is always my favorite thing. Oops. I just love the bright colors in these. They're so much fun. Okay, and then the last motif I have modified, like I shared with you last time. And I am using a motif from the Crochet Kaleidoscope book, which is by Sandra Eng. And I'm making motif number 70, though I'm modifying that motif as well, but it's pretty much the number 70 design. Here is a picture of that. I am modifying it just a little bit to make the center popcorn stitch section a little bit smaller than what is recommended. And so anyway, let's see, how many have I made of these? 5, 10 of these since last time as well. I love this pattern so much. This is probably my favorite motif to make. I just love the popcorn stitch so much. I think it's so cute and it's so fun to make. I love it a lot. Anyway, so in the original pattern for this number 70, she has one more round of popcorn stitches, but I thought it was just a little bit too big. And then I've also modified the last round to only be single crochet so that it will match in dimensions with the other motifs. This one is so beautiful. I think I could definitely consider making a blanket just using this motif because it's so much fun. I think the popcorn stitch does probably take up more yarn than, I'm sure it does, because it has, you know, it's a raised puffed texture to it. But they're so beautiful. I just love it looks like a chrysanthemum or something, I think. I think they're so beautiful. And last one. Aren't they great? I'm so excited to continue working on this and very excited to get to the point where I can lay it all out and get the colors dispersed just right and see it come together. I'm so excited about that. So I think I covered everything on that one. My next work in progress that you have seen before and I've made a little bit of progress on is the little baby sweater that I am making for my great niece. It is being held in this beautiful bag from Susan of Delightful Works. And I am making the Aran sweater for my great niece. It is a design, I still don't know how to pronounce the designer's name, but I'll put it at the bottom of the screen here. And I've made a lot of progress, really, I think. Pretty good progress for Fisherman's Rib, which doesn't work up extremely quickly. I have some needle stoppers that are in this bag so that my stitches won't fly off, but I must have put it down in a hurry and didn't take the time to put these on last time I was working on it. So this is such a cute design, isn't it? There is a beautiful progress keeper on here from Erica of the Rose Opal Knits podcast. She sent that to me. She cross-stitched it. And I love it so much. That's marking where I was last time I recorded. So I've made a lot of progress as far as number of inches here on the body. It is knit from the top down as well. And I only have, I think, like an inch left before I'm done with the body on this. I am making the 12-month size. I'm using Knit Picks Swish DK in Blossom Heather, and that is 100% fine superwash merino wool. I started this on June 20th. When I finish this sweater, then I will also be, hopefully, it'll work out. The goal is to put my great niece's name on this sweater. I'll again insert a picture of the inspiration of what this sweater should be looking like when it's done. I hope it works out. I'm still nervous about putting the name on there correctly, but I hope it will work out. But anyway, this is at a knitting on this right now is very mindless because it's just a 2-row repeat in the round, and it's very simple to keep track of where I'm at. So that's been nice to have as an on-the-go project right now. So I'm loving that. It's going really well, I think, and I don't need to have this done until the fall, so I think I'll be okay. I do have a couple of other works in progress that I've shared on my last episode that I'm not sharing today, and that's because I haven't touched them. So I have another pair of socks and another blanket that I am crocheting, and I haven't touched them at all. But anyway, I have some more new works in progress that I've started. Anyway, this one is being held in a project bag that I sewed myself, and it is another baby sweater. This is called Callisto. Another free pattern. It's a rather new pattern. It just came out recently. Oh, I'm in the middle of a row. That's funny. Wonder why I did that. I'm on row 5. This one I have to kind of keep track of where I'm at because it is a textured pattern that I'm really enjoying the texture of it. Am I on the right side or the wrong side? I'm on the wrong side. Okay, so I'm going to knit across this while I talk about it. So I have, like I said, I know a few ladies that are they're all actually having boys, the ladies that I know that are expecting. So the weaving cardigan that I shared with you already would be appropriate for a boy or a girl, of course. This one really would too, because I'm just making it using some light gray yarn. I'm again using, I love this cotton yarn, and this is in the Dove colorway. And again, it's worsted weight 100% cotton yarn. This pattern calls for a gauge of, let's see, 20 stitches to 4 inches. And like I said, I can't quite remember what that wee bean called for, but I knew that I was loose, that I was only getting 18 stitches with the US 5 needles that I made the wee bean with. So for this one, I've gone down to US 3.25 millimeter needles, but it's still turning out loose. It's the same thing where I wanted to start making, I started with the stitch count and everything, I was following the directions for the 0 to 3 month size. But I've measured the circumference of how it's turning out, and it's measuring to the 12-month size again. So that's frustrating. I am just a super loose knitter, but I thought the recommended needles for this one are US 4 for the ribbing, and then US 6 4 millimeter for the main body. And I've gone down to US 3.25, and it's still much looser than what is recommended. I again have not changed the size of my needles for the edging compared to the rest of the body. I've just continued with the US 3 for the entirety of the garment, but it's still turning out bigger than I was hoping, so that's frustrating. I am also, well, I'll finish this row and then I'll show you that I'm adding buttonholes to this garment. I should have told you that the designer, I'm sure you've seen it on the screen now, the designer is named Agnes Brandels. And I started this on July 20th. So the original pattern does not call for any buttonholes. It calls for you to put on snaps, I think. I hate snaps. So many people love them. I mean, I love using them, but I have had terrible luck installing them on garments and bags and other things. I've tried several times, and I've tried a few different button or snap applicators, and I have just a horrible time adding snaps to things. Anyway, so I don't like doing snaps. So I'm adding buttonholes to this cardigan. Okay, I've made it across the row. So this is knit from the bottom up, and it has a beautiful texture to it. I really enjoy, oh, I'm showing the wrong side. Here is the right side. I just love the texture of this cardigan. It's so pretty. It's really quite easy. I do have to keep track, so I'm using one of these twill and print progress or row counter progress keepers, which is so nice. So I can keep track of what row I'm on, which I guess I should switch since I just finished that row. But it's just a knit purl texture, so it's pretty easy. You just kind of got to keep track of what row you're on. The original pattern, I'll put a picture in here so you can see. The original pattern calls for the button band, or it's not really, you know, it just has snaps, like I said, is along the edge of the raglan and along the side of the cardigan. And I love the looks of that design, but now that it's turning out to be a 12-month size, I don't know if that's going to be super practical, because a 12-month-old is going to be going all around. And so if you don't have it closed, it's going to flap open funny. I thought with a newborn, it wouldn't matter because they're always laying down anyway. So I thought that side closure was kind of cool. But now I'm thinking maybe I should try to adjust the pattern so that it does go down the middle, that it buttons down the middle, so that if the child doesn't have it buttoned all the way, it won't be flopping weird with that one side off centered. Does that make sense? Anyway, I'm glad I've added buttonholes to it, and I've just done that so this is an 8-row repeat for the textured pattern. And I'm adding a buttonhole every other row 1 of the textured pattern. So I guess that'd be every 16 rows I am adding a buttonhole, and I just did a simple yarn over and knit 2 together. And I did remember to do it on the boy side as opposed to the girl side for the button band. Not that that really matters, but I think this is going to go to a little boy, so I thought of that and did it on the opposite side of what I'm used to for making garments for myself. Anyway, I think I'm going to try to see if I can figure out how to make the button band adjust the garment so that it splits down the middle instead of on the side. I think that might be a little bit tricky for me to figure out, but I'm hoping I can. Anyway, this is I just love the texture of this pattern. It's really fun to make. All right, I think that's it for that one. And then my last work in progress, I'm excited that I have started recording a tutorial after having a few requests from people to show how I knit my socks 2 at a time. And so I have started recording a tutorial showing how I do that. And the socks that I'm working on for that tutorial are being held in another bag that I sewed myself. And I'm using the leftovers from this gnome I made. So I am making some socks using that same yarn for the cuffs, heels, and toes. I'm planning on using the Paisley Heather colorway from Knit Picks Stroll Fingering. Again, this is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. I just love this color so much. It's currently out of stock on Knit Picks, I noticed, because I wanted to order some more because I used up so much of it on that gnome, and I really wanted to have a pair of socks just in this color at some point, but anyway, I'll have this color in these socks at least. So I have just finished doing the cuffs, and I am ready to record another little section showing how I'm going to start working the main body of my socks. And so I hope that works out. I'm a little bit, you know, I've done a few tutorials, not a ton of tutorials. I have a few tutorials here on my channel, but this one's going to be a little different just because I'm having to take breaks in between for quite a while, you know, as I knit through these socks. I don't want to, of course, have a whole video of me knitting all of the rows. So, you know, I'm going to be putting them on hold or working on them and recording the tutorial in a lot of different sections where I've never had to do that for any of the other tutorials I've made. I've been able to just show what I'm making quickly. Anyway, so I'm a little bit nervous about if this will work out or not, but I'm attempting it anyway. So on the first video I already recorded, I shared how I cast on and how I get them on the needles for 2 at a time, and I hope it's going to be clear enough that you can see how I do it and understand how I do it, but I'm just going to be sharing how I knit my socks. So that's what I'm doing. I cast on 60 stitches using US 0 2mm needles, and I did 20 rounds of 2x1 ribbing. So I will then do the body of the socks using the leftovers of the self-striping yarn. I've caked those up into 2 smaller cakes. I have a little over 60 grams left over of this yarn, so I think it will be good enough since I am using the Paisley Heather for the cuffs, heels, and toes. I think this will be enough for the rest of the socks. Hopefully it will work out. And again, that's Paintbox Yarns socks in the Candy Stripes colorway, or Stripes Candy, I guess it's written on the label. Anyway, I'm excited about that. I hope that works out and that tutorial will be able to be viewed by any of you that want to see how I make my socks. I always make my socks 2 at a time, pretty much. And so there's, like I said, there's been a few people that have asked if I would be able to share how I make my socks. And so I hope that will be helpful to anybody that is curious about that. Those are all of the projects that I have to share with you all today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you really enjoyed seeing the things that I've been working on, and I hope that you are really enjoying the things that you're working on as well. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.